Hello everyone, my name is Kira and today I will discuss on how to full start the new 5.1 Spiral Abyss. Without much further ado, let's begin. Okay, quick disclaimer though. This is the 12th floor of the Spiral Abyss, so you need like endgame level builds, great teams and tactics, so make sure you're ready before you tackle this. There's no shame in waiting until at a higher AR level, better artifacts, more characters, higher levels, etc. Now let's actually begin. First off, on the general information, the new Abyssal Blessing is very simple. It increases defense by 60% if a character uses their elemental skill. This is fairly niche, only good for a really select few Geo characters like Jelonin, Albedo, but it isn't like as busted or impactful as the last Abyssal one, so don't try to build your teams around it. For the actual Abyss itself, the first side is very easy. No elemental restrictions, no like massive AoE checks or strong single target enemies. You just need moderate DPS really, outside of maybe the first chamber, which is a bit tanky with two consecrated beasts. Second side is where things get a bit tricky. There's a massive geo restriction here. Every single chamber has some sort of geo shield, and the only real way to bypass it is geo damage or blunt damage. Blunt damage is overload reaction damage, claymore damage, and plunge damage. You need to keep that in mind, and you have to build your teams around that so you can clear. Characters like Navia, Kachina, Zilonen, Zhongli are really good. Albedo and Chiori are also decent if you have those. So yeah. Now moving on for actual strategies, there's not really much to say about the first half of the first chamber. As you're probably already seeing in the footage, you just DPS the consecrated beast and dodge their attacks just like any normal enemy fight. If the fight lasts long enough, there is someone like a small elemental thingy that you should prioritize hitting because it stuns them and gives you like a good DPS window. There's not much else to say really. Consecrated beasts like single target, not very dangerous outside of being tanky. Second side is a bit more tricky. It has 3 waves, thank you Hoyo. But it starts off with easy with 2 Vishap hatchlings, the thing that look... fucking kidding me. Oh, okay, anyway. It starts off with the 2 Vishap hatchlings, which are like the shark looking thingies. Not that tanky, but they move around a lot, so try to position yourself in a way where you can like hit both of them at the same time. If you use Bennett, also try to stay in a circle, you know, the usual stuff. You could also bait them to the start point to make it easier to beat the second wave if you don't have enough DPS. That'll save you some time. I don't think I have footage of that sadly, but it is a thing you can do. The second wave has 2 ball enemies, the ball thingies. They're the Geo this time, unlike the usual Dendro. They're honestly a bit easier low-key. You just have to break their shields, and that feels a lot better to do because they don't one-shot you like the Dendro ones do. But again, make sure to position yourself in a way where you hit both of them at the same time. Stay in Bennett circle. Certain DPS do have a large enough AoE to hit both hitboxes like Navia, Neuvillette, Arlecchino, maybe even Clorand. They don't move around a lot, but anemo groupers like Kaza or Sukro should be able to like make them like hug each other. For most DPS to be able to hit both of them. Note that Kaza's plunge attacks also help with the Geo shield. The third wave is the Geo Golems, the Geo Knight thingies. They're honestly not a very big threat. If you can break their relatively small shields, they become very vulnerable and you should be able to kill them in a few hits. This is the only hard chamber in the Abyss in my opinion. After that, everything is just 10 times easier, so you should focus your teams around the first chamber. First and foremost, always prioritize this when building your teams. The second chamber is a lot more simple. The first half starts with 2 Metachurls. Both are squishy enemies, just be sure to not get too damaged by them. They hit surprisingly hard. They should be easily groupable with or without a grouper unit. The second wave is 2 Ruin Graders. These are also not super tanky, but you have to be careful that one of them doesn't run off to the other side of the map and then they spread out. That really hurts you DPS and clear time. Otherwise, you should be able to beat this fairly quickly. The second half is the Plunge Mech local legend thingy. The one that makes you lament. So this boss is a bit annoying to fight, but it should be no big deal, really, for most players. To break its shield, you either use your Geo units, or if you don't have a Geo in your team, you use a lot of plunge attacks. The boss allows you to use plunge attacks to either dodge its attacks or break its shield, and usually you should be doing both. Make sure to set up your rotation a little before the shield is broken so you can get more time to DPS as soon as the shield is broken and you don't waste any time. Also, make sure to dodge the attacks properly because the hitbox is so goddamn big, I don't know why. Moving on to the third and final chamber, the first half has 2 Ruin Drakes. They're very simple and easy. The Ruin Drakes are not like big threats unless you're a miner. No, I didn't say that, sorry. They're not like a big threat. They do move around a fair bit though, so keep that in mind, you know. Just position it, like, it's just the usual. Position yourself so you can hit both of them, blah 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 blah. Say in Bennett circle, blah blah blah. They move around a fair bit though, so make sure to account for that in your rotations, like I said. The second side and the final thing in the Abyss is the Legathis Golem, the big horseman geo thingy. This boss is actually a lot more tricky to beat, but really it's just the same as the plunging mech. You DPS down the shield, and when the shield is low enough you set up your rotation, and when you break your shield you use your big attacks to delete its HP. It is a bit tanky though, so you usually won't be deleting it that quick. Also, make sure to dodge its attacks because it's a bit of a scary boss, honestly. It has a lot of big AoE attacks, a lot of damage, and it might actually kill you. If you haven't noticed already, my gameplay in the footage is a bit bad, but if you follow the general strategy, you should clear it fairly easily. Overall, my thoughts on the Abyss, it's fairly easy, like it's nicey. Like other than the first chamber that is a bit cringy and like tanky, the total DPS should be a lot lower than the previous ones, and it doesn't have as many restrictions. Like the last one had a few restrictions but not too many. This one has a geo restriction. Other than that, it's not that bad. And with all that, I give all the information I could on how to clear the new Spiral Abyss. If you have any questions or tips I didn't mention in the video, please type them out in the comments. Thank you everyone for watching. If this video was helpful, like the video and subscribe to my channel. I make various content regarding meta discussions and things of that sort. Have a nice day and goodbye.